Before we begin, let us discuss about the world wars in brief.
World War I broke out in August 1914. It was a terrible war in which several nations of the world were involved. The war started in Europe when the industrialized nations of the world became jealous of each other's powers. Each country wanted its own empire to grow. Millions of soldiers and other people were killed or wounded. Cities were destroyed and there was a severe shortage of food. After a few years of peace, World War II broke out in September 1939. It ended in 1945 after USA dropped atomic bombs over two Japanese cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The loss of life and the destruction of cities in World War II was much greater than in World War I.
Now that we know how World War II ended, let us see how the United Nations was formed.
After World War II, the nations of the world came together to find ways of preventing wars in the future. The tremendous destruction and misery of the two wars had made them wiser. As a result of their efforts, the United Nations was born in the year 1945. A set of rules called the Charter of the United Nations was made at a conference in San Francisco, USA. It was signed by 50 member countries on 24th October 1945. Today, 193 countries are members of the United Nations. South Sudan is the newest country to join the UN. South Sudan became independent on 9th July 2011.
What are the aims of the UN?
According to the Charter of the UN, its aims are to maintain international peace and security. The main aim of the United Nations is to prevent wars. Disputes are discussed at the meetings and efforts are made to find peaceful solutions. Sometimes when there is danger of war between two nations, the UN sends a military force called the Peacekeeping Force to prevent war. To develop friendly relations between nations. To encourage respect for human rights and the freedom for all people. All member nations of the UN are expected to ensure that human rights are upheld in their country. To achieve international cooperation in solving economic and social problems. It believes that the world can have lasting peace only when all the nations of the world receive progress and development. Therefore, it expects the richer nations to help the poorer countries improve their living conditions. It also helps to improve education in these countries, to help fight diseases and preserve the environment.
Let us now find out what are the principles of the United Nations.
All members of the UN are equal, however developed or underdeveloped they may be. All countries that are members of the UN must obey the Charter. Countries must try to settle their differences by peaceful means. The UN will not interfere in the domestic affairs of any country.
What does the structure of the UN consist of?
The structure of the UN has 6 different organs or bodies that have different functions. They are the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Secretariat, the Economic and Social Council, the International Court of Justice, and the Trusteeship Council.
Let us study in brief the working and responsibilities of the main organs. Let us start with the General Assembly.
The General Assembly is the main organ of the UN. It is made up of all 193 member countries. Each country has one vote. It meets every year. Discussions on all actions of the UN are held in the General Assembly. Every member country can put forward its ideas and opinions. Based on the discussions, decisions are taken on what actions should be taken. Members decide routine matters with a simple majority vote, more than half the votes. Important decisions require a 2/3 majority. However, it is not compulsory for the member nations to follow the recommendations of the General Assembly.
Next, the Security Council.
The Security Council is the most powerful organ of the UN. It is responsible for maintaining international peace and for restoring peace if a war breaks out. The Council meets whenever there is a threat to peace. It may also meet if a nation has a complaint against another nation. All the member countries have to accept its decisions. The Security Council has 15 members. 5 of them have permanent seats. These are the United States of America, United Kingdom, France, Russia, and China. These permanent members have the power to veto or overrule any majority resolution. The other 10 members are elected, each for 2 years.
The third organ is the Secretariat. Let's discuss about this organ.
The people who work in the UN, that is the staff members, form the Secretariat. It carries out the day-to-day work of the UN. The head of the Secretariat is the Secretary General. He or she carries out the decisions of the Security Council and is a powerful person. The Secretary General is chosen for 5 years by the General Assembly. The present Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, assumed the post on 1st January 2017.
Last but not the least, the ECOSOC.
The Economic and Social Council, also known as the ECOSOC, works under the General Assembly. It looks after those programs of the UN which provide help to developing nations. It also looks after the programs related to education, health, and culture. It looks after the work of several agencies that work for the poor and needy.
In the next video, we will be talking about a few special agencies, the achievements of the UN, and India's contribution to the United Nations. I hope that you have enjoyed the video. If you like my channel, please like and subscribe. Goodbye.